the Lamborghini. We lack.
Con GT4, so back on track with GT4 Championship European Series with here as well many cars. And let's see it for the second free practice after the first one of this morning.
So the Lamborghini.
Wow. GT4 series from 12:30 until.
Hey guys, welcome to 2022. It's a new season, but we're racing again in the GT World Challenge Europe. Some of you might know already what that is, but for those who don't, we're going to do a quick intro to the series this year, the team, my new teammates, and yeah, so just give you the lowdown, so buckle in. Keen-eyed among you may have spotted that I am continuing with Emil Frey Racing this year. That's because we had a great time last year and a lot of success already in my rookie year in GT racing. They're a Swiss team, they're based out of car dealerships really, but extremely successful, and the racing team itself, although in its current guise started in 2012, it's got roots going all the way back to the 1960s racing classic minis, which is just awesome. So in terms of championships, this year we're going to be doing two. We're carrying on with the GT World Challenge Endurance, which we did last year, and they do races all the way from 3 hours up to 24 hours at Spa, which is the crown jewel event, and they generally race at Grand Prix level circuits such as Imola this weekend, Paul Ricard, Spa, and yeah, we go to some great locations. The racing is a bit more tactical because it is, as the name would suggest, more towards that endurance end of the scale. You have 3 drivers. I'm going to be paired with Albert Costa, who was already part of Emil Frey last year, and who, great guy, get on really well. He's pretty damn fast. And Mirko Bortolotti, who is also a Lamborghini factory racing driver and has had a lot of success with Lamborghini. So, and he's new to the team, but he's settling in well already. So that's really exciting. And the grid is about 50 cars, so it's a serious grid. It's very impressive when you see them rolling towards the start line. And I thoroughly recommend that you tune in and have a watch. On the other hand, we have the ADAC GT Masters, which is more of a regional level championship based around Germany, and the tracks are a little bit more old school actually, going to a lot of places that I've never even heard of, places like Oschersleben, Sachsenring, Lausitzring, and that's a bit of a novelty for me at this stage of my career. I feel like I've been to a lot of circuits in Europe, but this will be something new and cool for me. The format of the series is more sprint. So you've got 2 1-hour races, one each Saturday and Sunday, and just 2 drivers this time. So it'll be me and Albert Costa. And yeah, you do half an hour each, and the racing is flat out. It's not really tactical at all. You just have the one pit stop to deal with, and it gets pretty intense. So looking forward to that one as well. So one question that I get a lot is how these cars differ from driving other cars that I've driven, whether that's single-seaters or the LMP2 that we're going to be driving as well this year. It's quite noisy here, this was a poor location choice. And the answer is it's quite different. The GT3 cars are quite heavy, but they're actually surprisingly nimble. The Lamborghini in particular is very reactive, and it makes it very enjoyable to drive. So it really defies its weight and the numbers that you see on the sheet. They do need to be hustled, and there's a lot of curb hopping and forcing the car to do what you want it to do. They can take a massive beating, whereas the LMP2 cars are a bit more classically more single-seater orientated. So, you know, there's a bit of a balance to strike. You also have to deal with the downforce a lot more in the LMP2, which means you can't go hopping over curbs, and you really have to control the platform and make sure that you're getting the most out of that aero, and they're a lot faster. So it does put a smile on my face, but the GT3, just because it's slower, it's no less enjoyable to drive. They're huge fun. You can get right up close to each other and race really, really hard. They can even take a bit of contact. So yeah, they're really something special. In terms of where these championships sit in the pecking order of the world of motorsport and the hierarchy, it's a very good question. GT racing for a long time has been considered, or endurance racing as a whole, has been considered something that's of a lower level than single-seater racing. I think that's starting to change now. You're seeing a lot of guys who are coming over at a younger age and who are, you know, moving away from the single-seater ladder and even coming back to single-seaters after having done this kind of endurance racing. For these championships in particular, the GT World Challenge Europe, I think in Europe it's pretty much the premier grid for GT3. You know, I said earlier, you've got 50 cars competing, and in the top 10 already you have a lot of all-pro lineups of factory drivers from people like BMW, Porsche, Audi, Mercedes, and of course Lamborghini. So, you know, the level is extremely high. These guys have been racing these things for a long time. They're experienced. They've won races like the Spa 24 Hours, Daytona. Some of them have been to Le Mans. So it's massively competitive, and I love it. It's really cool that you go from circuit to circuit, and different cars will have the advantage weekend to weekend. The BOP is very well balanced here by SRO. They do a very good job of that. But you do get some circuits that favour cars more than others, and it's really cool to see. You have to play to your car's strengths. The Lamborghini, we lack.
GT4, so back on track with GT4.
As I was saying, in terms of the BOP, for example, Lamborghini, we do struggle a bit in terms of straight line speed. It's very difficult for us to pass on the straights, even when we're tucked up right behind another car. We just don't have that power. But we are one of the fastest in the corners, particularly in braking and in the high-speed stuff. We're very capable, so that just means we have to pass in different places compared to the other guys. So it makes it very interesting to watch. And in terms of the ADAC GT Masters, it's, like I said, more of a national level championship, but it's probably the highest level national championship in the world. You know, the quality is extremely high. It's not just German teams and drivers competing there. It's a very European grid. And for a sprint championship, it's right up there, so I'm pretty excited to be doing that. The next level up really from here, in terms of GT3, I think it's very difficult. There are international competitions, but the grids are a lot smaller. And then you're looking really at GTE and the world of Le Mans and the World Endurance Championship WEC, which is probably at the top of the tree. For LMP2 this year, we're racing in ELMS, the European Le Mans Series, and that, in terms of where it lies in the pecking order, is probably, it's not the highest. I think WEC would be the highest for LMP2, but it's still a very competitive grid. We've got 20 cars, and a lot of the cars that have been racing in ELMS go on to race in things like the Le Mans 24 Hours and place very well. So that, you know, particularly in qualifying, the level is very high as well.
Attention pits, attention pits.
My new camera has zoom, and it makes me very excited.